Most men over 40 are unknowingly doing the wrong exercises and paying the price with stiff joints, chronic pain, and pushing you closer to a $15,000 surgery. Sounds dramatic? It's not. It's the cold, painful truth. What used to build strength in your 20s and 30s might now be tearing your body apart. Your shoulders, knees, and lower back don't bounce back like they used to, especially if you're still grinding out these outdated, joint-crushing movements. In this video, I'm breaking down the 11 exercises you need to avoid after 40, and more importantly, what smarter, safer alternatives you should be doing instead to still get jacked without blowing out your knees, shoulders, or spine. Stick around, because number 7 is a machine you've probably used hundreds of times, but it's quietly damaging your knees more than you think. Do you really want to keep training hard, or do you want to train smart and stay injury-free for life? Let's dive into the 11 high-risk exercises that every man over 40 needs to stop doing today, and the proven alternatives that will keep you strong, mobile, and pain-free. 1. Romanian Deadlift. The Romanian deadlift is often hailed as a top-tier hamstring and glute developer due to its emphasis on the hip hinge. However, for men over 40, it becomes a serious risk when flexibility, hamstring tightness, or lumbar instability are present, which they often are. The movement requires keeping the knees nearly locked while lowering the weight, forcing the lower back and hamstrings to absorb a ton of tension throughout the entire range of motion. As we age, our intervertebral discs lose hydration and elasticity, making them more prone to strain and herniation. Even a minor form breakdown while performing RDLs can result in weeks or even months of debilitating back pain or nerve issues. It's not just about the muscle work, it's about spinal safety and risk management. A far better choice for men over 40 is the conventional deadlift, or, for lower load mobility work, the good morning with lighter weight. The conventional deadlift allows more knee bend, which reduces strain on the hamstrings and distributes load across more joints and muscle groups. This helps protect the lower back, while still promoting posterior chain strength. Good mornings, when done with light to moderate weight and strict control, are excellent for reinforcing the hip hinge pattern and strengthening the spinal erectors safely. These options allow for progression while accommodating age-related changes in tissue resilience, spinal stability, and joint mobility, all without putting your back on the line. 2. Diamond Pushups. Diamond push-ups are known for hammering the triceps and chest, but the cost of that tight hand position is extremely high for men over 40. Bringing the hands together under the chest places the wrists into a hyperextended and unnatural angle, especially under body weight pressure. At the same time, the elbows are forced into an aggressive tuck that loads the joint in a way it's not designed to handle repeatedly. For aging elbows and wrists that have already taken a beating from years of lifting, typing, driving, and manual labor, diamond push-ups are a fast track to tendinitis and chronic inflammation. Pain often builds gradually until a sharp twinge stops your progress completely, and then it's rest, rehab, or even surgery. The smarter route is to isolate the triceps using rope tricep extensions on a cable machine. This movement allows you to work the triceps hard without compromising joint integrity. The rope attachment gives you a natural range of motion and allows your wrists to rotate freely at the bottom of the movement, minimizing tension on both the wrists and elbows. Even better, you can control the weight precisely, increasing or decreasing resistance based on your current joint health and strength level. This approach strengthens the arms effectively, supports healthy elbow mechanics, and dramatically reduces your injury risk, all key for long-term lifting longevity. 3. Dumbbell Fly. Dumbbell flies have long been a staple for chest isolation, but they're also one of the most dangerous exercises for aging shoulders. The wide arc motion places your arms in an extremely vulnerable, externally rotated position, especially at the bottom of the rep, where your pecs are maximally stretched and your shoulders are least stable. This is precisely when the rotator cuff is under the most stress. Any imbalance, sudden jerk, or fatigue-related breakdown can easily lead to a pec strain or a torn rotator cuff. For men over 40, whose connective tissue isn't as resilient as it once was, this makes dumbbell flies a ticking time bomb for upper body injuries. Instead, opt for machine chest flies or cable crossovers, both of which allow for a much safer and more controlled range of motion. These variations keep your arms supported and prevent overstretching in the most vulnerable parts of the lift. Machines offer the added benefit of joint stability, guiding your motion along a fixed plane to reduce wobble or compensations. Cables allow more freedom, but with constant tension and better control throughout the movement. Both alternatives give you a great chest contraction without putting your shoulders at risk, an ideal solution for men who want to train smarter and stay in the game for the long haul. 4. Behind the neck lat pull down. The behind the neck lat pull down might look impressive in theory, but it places your shoulder joints in an unnatural and dangerous position, especially for men over 40. Pulling the bar behind your head requires extreme external rotation, which puts the rotator cuff and shoulder capsule under intense stress. To make matters worse, most people compensate for limited shoulder mobility by craning their neck forward, increasing the risk of cervical spine strain and disc irritation. This movement is particularly unforgiving for those with tight shoulders, previous injuries, or years of poor posture. One wrong pull, and you could be looking at months of shoulder rehab or worse, a $15,000 rotator cuff repair. The front pull down, where you bring the bar down to your chest, is a far safer and more effective variation. It allows your shoulders to remain in a neutral, mechanically efficient position while still engaging the lats fully. Even better, using a neutral grip attachment, where your palms face each other, can further minimize joint strain and provide a natural pulling angle. This variation not only protects the shoulders, but also encourages better engagement of the back muscles, helping you build width and strength without pain or inflammation. These simple tweaks can make all the difference in your long-term joint health and muscle development. 5. Sit-up. Sit-ups are often viewed as the go-to move, but they actually do more harm than good, especially as you get older. The repeated flexion of the spine under load compresses the lumbar discs, which are already more vulnerable due to natural aging. The iliopsoas, a powerful hip flexor, ends up doing most of the work in a sit-up, not the abs, and it pulls on the spine as it shortens, further contributing to lower back strain. Men over 40 often experience stiffness or prior injuries in the lower back, which makes this movement even more problematic. Over time, sit-ups can accelerate spinal degeneration and lead to herniated discs or chronic back pain. Far better core training options include planks, side planks, and ab rollouts. These exercises target the deep stabilizing muscles of the core, particularly the transverse abdominis and obliques, without placing the spine in a compromised position. Planks build anti-extension strength, helping to prevent back hyperextension, while side planks enhance lateral stability and correct imbalances. Ab rollouts, when done with proper form, challenge your core dynamically while maintaining a neutral spine, developing both strength and control. These alternatives are safer, more functional, and far more effective at creating real-world core stability for active aging. 6. Bent over barbell row. The bent over barbell row is a classic back builder, but it demands near-perfect form and a strong, stable lower back to perform safely. For men over 40, this is exactly where the danger lies. The bent over position puts a significant amount of stress on the lumbar spine, and if you lose core engagement or let the bar drift too far forward, that stress multiplies. Over time, the compression and shear forces on the lower back can aggravate discs, trigger muscle spasms, or even cause herniation, especially in lifters who already deal with tight hamstrings or mobility limitations. One bad rep is all it takes to end up with a serious back injury, and recovery becomes longer and harder with age. Instead, opt for seated cable rows or single-arm dumbbell rows, which are both far more joint-friendly. The seated cable row allows you to keep your spine in a neutral, supported position while still working the lats, traps, and rhomboids effectively. You're not fighting gravity with your posture, so the movement becomes safer and easier to control. The single-arm dumbbell row offers even more benefits. It allows for a longer range of motion, isolates each side to fix imbalances, and lets you brace one arm on a bench for support, significantly reducing spinal loading. These alternatives offer the same back-building benefits without putting your spine at unnecessary risk. If you've made it this far and you're getting value out of this, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss smarter, safer ways to stay strong after 40. Alright, back to the list. 7. Leg press machine. The leg press might feel like a safe machine-based movement, but it's deceptively risky for aging joints. When you bring your knees too far toward your chest, especially with heavy loads, your lower back can round and press against the pad in a dangerous way. This is called butt wink. It causes your lumbar spine to flex under load, which is a major contributor to herniated discs. Additionally, because your hips and knees are locked into a fixed track, it doesn't mimic natural movement patterns and doesn't train stability or coordination. Over time, this lack of functional movement can contribute to joint imbalances, knee pain, or lower back injury. A smarter alternative is to return to the basics with barbell squats or dumbbell goblet squats. These exercises engage not only the quads and glutes, but also your core, hamstrings, and stabilizing muscles. Barbell squats, when performed with proper depth, neutral spine, and moderate weight, train the full body and replicate real-life movement patterns, which is essential for maintaining functional strength as you age. Goblet squats are even more joint-friendly, forcing good posture and keeping the load in front of your center of gravity, reducing stress on the spine and knees. These compound lifts strengthen your entire kinetic chain and help you move better both in and out of the gym. 8. Barbell bench press. The barbell bench press is iconic, but for men over 40, it comes with significant shoulder and elbow risks. The fixed position of the bar locks your arms into a strict path, often flaring the elbows out too wide or overstretching the shoulder capsule at the bottom of the movement. If your shoulders are tight or previously injured, which is common in older lifters, this can lead to impingement, inflammation, or even rotator cuff tears. Not to mention, there's no room to adjust your wrist angle or range of motion to suit your individual anatomy, which can make existing joint pain worse over time. A far safer and more effective option is the dumbbell bench press or a guided machine press. Dumbbells allow each arm to move independently, which promotes more natural movement and reduces the stress on your shoulders. You can adjust your elbow angle and hand position to suit your body, making the lift safer and more personalized. Machine presses offer even more control and support, perfect for older lifters who want to train the chest without worrying about stability or balance. Both options keep the pecs engaged while reducing injury risk, making them ideal for long-term upper body strength and muscle gains. 9. Barbell upright row. The barbell upright row is notorious for causing shoulder pain, especially for men over 40. The motion of pulling a bar straight up along the body forces internal rotation of the shoulders while they are in elevation, a combination that puts intense pressure on the rotator cuff and subacromial space. This often leads to shoulder impingement syndrome, where the tendons of the rotator cuff become pinched and inflamed. As we age, these tendons become less pliable and more prone to tearing, especially if you've had a history of overhead lifting or shoulder issues. Continuing to perform upright rows past 40 can result in chronic pain or serious injury. A much safer and still highly effective alternative is barbell or dumbbell shrugs. Shrugs isolate the trapezius muscles without requiring any awkward shoulder rotation or elevation under load. You simply hold the weights and elevate your shoulders in a straight line, reducing the chance of joint impingement while still strengthening the upper back and neck area. Dumbbell shrugs, in particular, allow for a neutral grip, which is even gentler on the shoulder joints. This movement keeps you strong where it counts while protecting the delicate structures of your shoulders, a crucial adjustment for maintaining performance and avoiding surgeries. 10. Behind the neck shoulder press. The behind the neck shoulder press is a dangerous trap for aging lifters. Similar to the behind the neck pull down, this movement forces your shoulders into an exaggerated externally rotated position that most men over 40 simply can't achieve safely. Attempting to press a bar from behind your head can overstretch the rotator cuff, pinch nerves, and place stress on the cervical spine, especially if your thoracic mobility is limited. Worse yet, this exercise often becomes a mechanical compensator's playground, with lifters unknowingly arching their lower backs to complete the lift, which adds spinal strain on top of shoulder risk. Instead, the standard shoulder press in front of the body is your go-to alternative. Whether you're using a barbell, dumbbells, or a machine, pressing in front of your head keeps your shoulders in a safer and stronger biomechanical position. Dumbbells are especially useful because they allow a neutral or semi-pronated grip, which can significantly reduce shoulder impingement risk. Machines also offer excellent support, helping you isolate the deltoids while maintaining good posture. This front press variation builds strong, stable shoulders and reduces your risk of joint breakdown. Exactly what every man over 40 should aim for. 11. Front raises for shoulders. Front raises with a barbell or dumbbells may seem harmless, but they can be redundant and risky for men over 40. The anterior deltoids, front part of the shoulders, are already heavily involved in pressing movements like bench and overhead presses, so isolating them with front raises can lead to overtraining and inflammation. Additionally, raising the arms straight in front puts direct stress on the rotator cuff and can exacerbate impingement issues, especially in lifters with limited shoulder mobility or tight pecs. This unnecessary movement can easily push your shoulder joints past their safe range, increasing your risk of long-term pain or injury. A smarter and more effective approach is the military press with dumbbells or a machine. This compound lift engages not just the front delts, but also the lateral delts, triceps, and core, offering a more well-rounded shoulder workout. Using dumbbells allows for more natural movement and helps you avoid the rigid mechanics of front raises. Meanwhile, machine presses offer guided motion, ideal for maintaining proper form and reducing joint strain. These options train your shoulders more efficiently and safely, making them perfect for building size and strength without compromising your shoulder health. Look, training after 40 isn't about ego. It's about staying strong, staying pain-free, and staying in the game for decades to come. Which of these exercises surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more smart training tips for men over 40, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Your future self will thank you. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video that could save your body and your wallet.